This time on Kawaii-Fi Radio, Kyle accidentally throws some shade. Well, we're moving on from the creepy mascots to you being creepy.
Uncalled for.
We look back at 90s CG. You can't see the polygons.
Oh man, that show gave me nightmares.
That show looked like it was a PS1 game. And we talk volleyball and Haikyu. Not a lot of us really watch sports animes. Tifa's going, no, I do.
Yeah, but you don't watch it for the sports.
She watches it for the BL.
Ava launch!
Tetsuo! Kaneda!
Onii-chan?
It's over 9,000! Nani?
Configure the language logic interface for Japanese.
Kawaii-Fi.
Kawaii-Fi.
Kawaii-Fi Radio.
Konnichiwa and welcome. You tuned into Kawaii-Fi Radio, the podcast we dive into the world of anime, manga, and otaku culture. I'm Kyle, and with me on remote is Aaron and Tifa, because we're all very busy people, apparently.
Oh man, woo!
How yous both doing?
Good, yeah.
Good.
Tired.
Ready to do this.
All right. Oh, yeah, well, we discussed I got the Red Bull, so...
Not sponsored.
Not yet. Now, this episode, Summer Olympics are now opened in Paris. I apparently wrote how for some reason. Sports are being done, yes. But one sport in particular has caught our eye. Yes, it's volleyball. Now, Tokyo Olympics, a lot of the volleyball players made references to the ever-popular Haikyu manga and anime. Tifa made several videos on it, actually, and I highly recommend go check out her channel if you want to see all of the references, because there's some funny ones. And the Haikyu final movie also is expected to release in around the next 12 months in Japan. So with all of this going on, there's never really been a better time to dive into this series. So we're gonna kind of get stuck into it, because like it's actually surprisingly easy to watch. And we were discussing this before. Like, I didn't start watching this until recently, until that most recent movie came out, and I was like, huh, it's kind of good.
I understand the hype.
yeah, get in on the hype. So, look, if you're new to the podcast, welcome. We also have Patreon and stuff like that. Pre-show, we had a bonus episode last week talking about Gainax and, shall we say, what basically kept them afloat, which was the Gainax bounce in video games. So, if you're interested in that sort of stuff and would like to vote on topics like our annual Halloween episode and White Day episodes, Valentine's Day, we go a little silly, then head over to the link in the description. But let's start off with what we've been watching.
I have no idea how old I am or where I came from.
Nani? Ohio?
Hang time! I gotta go!
I have to know. Hooray! I did the thing.
Oni-chan, nani wo miru? What we're watching. All right, Aaron.
Yes.
Darwin's Game? Really?
Darwin's Game.
Really?
Okay. So I started watching this because the cleaner at work was watching it.
Oh my god.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
fair enough.
She had it on her phone, and I was like, "Oh, what you watching?" And she's like, "Oh, just an anime." I was like, "Tell me all about it."
I need
She's
to
like,
know.
"Oh, it's just Darwin's Game," and I went, "Okay, cool." And she's like, "It's leaving Netflix at the end of the month." I was like, "All right, I'm on it."
You're like,
Sat
bet.
down, smashed out the whole thing, and the easiest way I can sort of summarize it is it's almost like an off-brand Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works.
That's a very interesting way to describe it. I've never heard it described that way.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, especially the main character.
Okay.
Okay.
Look, I'm not saying you're wrong. I don't know anything about it, and I'm also very limited knowledge on Fate. So I just know that,
Kyle's I have no idea what this is.
King Arthur's a chick, so that's all I know.
Okay. So there's no historical figures in it. That's the first thing. Yep.
Well, I'm out.
So basically, you get an invite from someone to install a game on your phone called the Darwin's Game. And if you open it, Snake bites you, you get not really brought into the game, but the game starts. And it's a killing game, so it'll match you up with an opponent who you then have to fight.
Oh, I think I might have watched the first episode of this. It's like 2 years old now?
I don't know.
I thought it was a little older than that, like maybe 4 years.
Yeah, I think so.
I think it was like 2020.
But as part of this game, you get a special ability. And when he starts, he doesn't know his special ability. But it's quite similar to the main character of Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works' ability, where he can sort of just like touch something and copy it.
Ah.
And then he builds up a team, and they have to fight other teams, and there's events in the game. And yeah, so it if you've watched both, you can definitely see the similarities. But if you haven't, and you hear this description, you're going to be like, that sounds nothing alike. There's only one season of it, and it left off on a cliffhanger, and everybody's like, when's season 2 coming? But there's no word on it.
You can read the manga, though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's also that rumor that something's coming soon that people have been waiting for a while.
That's true.
Is it a Kodansha manga?
I don't know what it is.
That's a good question. Let's find out.
You think Aaron pays attention to what he's doing?
It is licensed by Aniplex, so that's one of the two things needed for the rumor that's been going around about Aniplex and Kodansha having a really big announcement for a highly anticipated anime adaptation that fans have been waiting for on August 2nd. So look out for it. Let's see.
But the announcement for that, does it say that it's a new announcement, like a new adaptation, or they just kind of like anime adaptation?
Just anime adaptation. Doesn't say anything more than that. Like, give us something.
I like vague
nothing.
anecdotal evidence. You get nothing. Thanks, Aaron.
It's like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah, true. So, yeah, okay. And Tifa, you were right. Darwin's Game was 2020, the anime.
Okay, yeah.
So, wow. 4 years ago. Wow. Yeah. I think, I'm pretty sure. Peak COVID, yeah. I do remember, like, I looked at it and I was like, wow, the main character, like the image they used for the main character for the promo art, for the initial promo art, just kind of looked a bit naff. And then, like, the second promo art, everyone's like, oh, okay, that looks better. Because the guy kind of looked like they'd shined his face, so he had, like, a really round nose, really round chin. You're like, that looks weird. And it was, like, a low-angle shot and all that. And everyone's like, this doesn't look very good. And then
I was always deterred by the icon that was just the bunny suit.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that I saw that just then in the bringing up the stuff, and I was like, is this related to Glepner? Like,
Yeah,
We've been talking about that too much recently. Like,
I know, right? How has that ended up in the zeitgeist again for us? All right. Anyway, moving on from creepy mascot suits. Tifa dates with my stepsister. Why?
why is this the segue?
Well, we're moving on from the creepy mascots to you being creepy.
Uncalled for.
I'm kidding. So, Days with My Stepsister is a anime airing this season, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
Is it?
Yep.
Is it actually a romance? Please tell me no.
So far, no.
Okay.
No, it's not. I'm not going to spoil it for anyone, but I did have to Google what happens because I wanted to know if they ended up together or not. So, it's not finished. So I'm like half about it, but we'll see what happens in the future. But at this stage in the story, they are not romantically involved with each other. And to put that specifically as a slight spoiler, there is a scene that has become very popular online on Twitter.
Just the bedroom scene?
Yeah, the bedroom scene with the sister and the brother. But in the Japanese especially, they use it actually as a moment to kind of discuss the stereotypes of stepsisters in animes and stuff, and he's like, this is like a harassment, this is assault, can you please leave? Like, I don't want this, basically. And then they further kind of discuss it, which I thought was quite interesting, and similar scenes have been online and kind of made me interested to watch it, because it very much starts off with a kind of monologue between the two step siblings. Basically, they don't know each other, they're strangers and stuff like that, and they're like, you see all these animes and TV shows and the siblings get together, and it's like pretty weird. I mean, I get we're strangers and all, and we're not actually, you know, but the way the family dynamic becomes, is that really like appropriate? And that's what the opening monologue is about. So I thought it was quite interesting, and I think it'll be interesting to see where this goes, because basically it's just this dude gets a stepsister, the mother works in the nightlife scene, so which is quite interesting as well, and it's got really great commentary, like social commentary on like women and their place in society, the different things they do. I mean, the stepsister, she's very different to everyone else in her high school. She dyes her hair blonde, she kind of looks a little bit rebellious, she looks like her mother, which some people might have comments about that, because the mother works in nightlife as well. So it's like, that becomes her armor, because that's not really her. And the discussion on social etiquette and all that kind of stuff is really interesting within the show, which is what like drew me to it. But I have a feeling that if this becomes romantic later on, then it's not going to be what a lot of people want from the show, considering how it started out. So
fair. No, look, that's actually surprising to hear, because all we saw for the trailers, we were just like,
yeah, what is this?
Did it involve her getting stuck in a washing machine?
No, that has not happened yet. I don't know if it will happen.
Stuck under a bed or something like that. Like, oh god, all the cliches. Oh dear. Okay, no more of that. I've actually like went and binged a lot of like last season's anime while I've been doing editing work and other stuff in the evenings, and I went and watched all of the many sides of Voice Actor Radio. Now, obviously, like we've discussed this before, most of us actually coming from the media background or media adjacent areas, we kind of have a bit of an understanding of what goes on in radio and TV. And the many side of Voice Actor Radio was interesting because it kind of shows you the side of Japanese voice actor careers. So like the difference between a normal voice actor and say like a idol voice actress, because they're set up to be a voice actor, but they use the idol side of it. Like they get set up as an idol group to promote an anime, for instance. So basically it focuses on like girls who are still in high school, and for many of them it is like you need to get started early, otherwise you don't make it big enough in like, that's like they give you like a timeline of like, you're a junior voice actor for 3 years, and if you don't stand out during that period and you can't win them over with your youth and your excitement, then the next stage, when you become the next tenure, the odds of you getting more opportunities and more roles kind of drops off. So for both of the girls in this, they're kind of in that third year point where they have to find a way to stand out. So you've got Yumiko Sato. She's a gyaru in high school, but she's actually a voice actress. So she uses her gyaru looks as a way to disguise herself, sort of, because she is a gyaru at heart. But then when she goes on TV, she takes all the makeup off and has a lot more, reserved look. She just looks like she's, light-haired and all that. So one day she has a hostile encounter with a quiet and reserved classmate called Chika Watanabe. She then lands a role to co-host a radio program, which apparently they do for a lot of these voice actors, and you might have heard in like other Japanese anime where they've got like the radio show and they call them, we had a letter from this person and and oh, thank you very much, and it's those types of shows. So it starts off with that, and it turns out both these girls are working as voice actresses, and they are friendly on the program. Off air, they constantly bicker with each other. It follows the relationship between the two of them, and it really is kind of a little bit like Oshinoko, showing you some of the messed up sides of radio. Like episode 3, like the episode 3 twist was really well handled, because obviously there's a lot of obsessive, crazy people out there, and one of the girls has their identity discovered. So it's like, dealing with the public and so on. But probably the thing that, like, those first 3 episodes, you kind of be like, okay, yeah, but by far the best thing is that both of them end up on an anime together. And it's about breaking through that barrier as a voice actress, learning how to become a good voice actor, to really show off the emotion. And the final episode, they're in the studio. The first half of the episode is in the studio, and basically the main girl, who's the Gyaru, basically doing the best performance of her life. And it's really shows you what it would be like because we hear about like how dubs are done and they don't all get in the studio together. No, in Japan they do get in the studio together and work off each other, and holy cow, like you can see how it's done with all like the concept art, the unfinished drawings and stuff. It is phenomenal voice acting. Like the girls who did the actual dubbing for this, the actual seiyus, it's phenomenal. Highly recommend it if you've ever been interested in how Japan does like the voice acting and all that for animes and for their radio shows and so on. It's incredible. I loved it. I really want more, but it's from a light novel originally, so I'm not going to read that.
Reading.
Oh my god.
Gross.
Well, no, it's just because it's cringe. No, I'm kidding. So
You
the
heard
manga
it here first. Light novels are cringe.
The manga currently has 4 volumes out, which is adapting the light novel. But and no, light novels aren't cringe. It's just like I don't like the writing style of it. And a lot of the ones that I've tried to read are very much targeted at a younger demographic, and being an old man now, it doesn't really resonate with me. The manga's only got 4 volumes, and that takes you up to episode 6, so it's only halfway through. So if you do want to jump on board and read afterwards, because I don't think this is going to get a second season, unfortunately. I think it has been made purely to promote the light novel. But hopefully the manga keeps going past the end of the season, which will be volume 8 will be the end of the season. So fingers crossed it does get more. I'm just going to wait on it, and hopefully we'll get more of it, because it's a really interesting story. It does have like Yuri undertones to it, and they even kind of make a joke about it in the last episode as well. They're like, isn't this Yuri baiting? Like, we've got to say things we like about each other, sort of thing. But the thing is the translation that they used for the subtitles was Yuri baiting, but the actual translation is more along the lines of business Yuri, as in like tattoo, like the band, like pretend Yuri, if you will, is the more direct translation for it. So it's like, okay, so there's actually a term for this where it's like, people know they're not, but we're going to pretend they are, like, sort of thing. It does have some questionable bath scenes in it, as, Japan. However, outside of that, it's a really interesting and wholesome story. But I really want to. I want to learn more about this, but I can't bring myself to read those light novels. Light novels only started in 2020 as well, and the manga started in 2020 as well. So it does mean it's going to be a little while, unfortunately, for it to catch up. But now if there's been something interesting you've been watching or reading, drop it in the comments section over on YouTube. There's a lot out both last season and this season. There's a lot of dubs for last season dropping at the moment as well. So there's actually a lot to talk about in the industry at the moment, of just in the realm of stuff that's airing. So look, let us know what you're enjoying. But I think it's time we get on to the main topic of the episode.
Kawaii-Fi Radio.
I think I watched that as a kid.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Back Catalogue.
Haikyu.
Gesundheit?
Yes, thank you. Alrighty, so Haikyu, it is the volleyball anime of everyone's dreams. It is sports and boys doing sports, and it's shonen sports. Yeah. Cool. We're good. All right. That's it. On the news.
Do you want me to read what my sibling wrote about it?
Sure.
Okay. So before I went to go watch the movie, I went, weird question, can you give me an abridged version of Haikyu other than high schoolers play volleyball and are a little gay? So I simply turned around and went, a young boy has a fiery passion in life for sport, and he is willing to do whatever it takes despite not being a conventional choice for a volleyball player. Brimming with natural talent, he discovers that he needs a lot more than that to make it as far as he wants to go. Though, through trials and tribulations, he works together with his team to achieve more than he had hoped for and attain lifelong friendships, even with the opposing teams.
Mm-hmm. Yes, this is a story that focuses on the diminutive Hinata Shoyo, as it's written. So he witnessed the little giant, a volleyballer who was short, when he saw it on TV. I think it was like they were airing the national competitions, because we all got to go to the nationals. This guy was short, but was able to jump insanely high, and he's kind of idolized this guy, so he goes to the same school that he's at, and he wants to make his debut as a volleyball player. He manages to finally play a game in middle school, but it did not go well. So yeah, it's the story of them.
We stand short kings.
The short kings. So yeah, he enrolls in Karasuno High School and the Little Giants old school. He believes that he is one step closer to his goal of becoming a professional volleyball player, and the school is kind of fallen from its former glory, if you will. So he's got a conviction that he's going to make it big again, and he discovers he is on the same team as the king of the court, who humiliated him. That's Tobiya Kageyama. So they're now teammates, and they make a brilliant duo. So yeah, it's a really good story, and I was really surprised. Look. We've discussed this before on the podcast, that not a lot of us really watch sports animes, because it's kind Tifa's going, no, I do.
Yeah, but you don't watch it for the sports.
She watches it for the BL.
Sports. I watch Haikyu for the sports.
By BL, I mean Blue Lock, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, look, if the sport is tongue wrestling, then yeah, that's what you watch it for.
My goodness.
Damn, boy.
What about that? What's that butt wrestling anime called?
Oh, yeah. That's my kind of sport anime.
That is not an anime. That is something else.
It is an
There's
anime.
a fake
It is an anime.
Oh dear. So Haikyu came out as a manga, didn't come out of the closet, Aaron, thank you. I can hear it twiddling in your brain. Started in 2012, ran till 2020, 407 chapters, 45 volumes, running weekly in Shonen Jump. The story was written and drawn by Furudate Haruichi. Furudate was a former volleyball player during junior high school, so there you go. They played the position of middle blocker. So, they actually have knowledge, which explains why they're so good at both in the manga and the anime, explaining what the roles are in an actual way that people can understand. So that made so much more sense to me. Yeah. So there's been the anime running since 2014. It has had 4 seasons, which is 85 episodes. There's been 5 OVAs/OADs, 2 canonical movies, 4 recap films, and a couple of silly spin-off minis as well. All done by Production IG. As we said, shonen, sports, good times. But this is getting towards the end of the anime run. We've got 1 film left. Now, yeah.
There's also, they announced that they were adapting, I don't know if I can say it because I was talking to Aaron earlier and it's technically a spoiler, but there is an extra part after what we assume is going to be the next film. There's like an extra bit after that's kind of like an epilogue, but is a bit longer than an epilogue. And
They
that
have
has
had
been confirmed that they are going to be doing something with that. We don't know if it's a film or if they're going to do it as like the final series or something like that, but they confirmed they will be doing something with it.
Well, I was going to say the manga has had a few one-shots since it actually finished. Like, one was done for the Olympics, one was done, I think, last year as well. And there's a few other spin-off bits and pieces that actually do play into it, which we'll get to. But, look, I kind of didn't... I'm not interested in sport anime as a general rule. I've tried, like you might, for long-time listeners, you might remember I tried to watch that Farewell, My Dear Kramer and was really upset with how bad it was. Like, it should never have been adapted because the manga got cancelled. Like, if the manga's been cancelled, I don't know what you're expecting to happen because it's going to be... I'm so sick of like seeing sports animes where it's like, hey, we've got these big dreams and then we're going to lose and then we're going to end the manga. And it's like, look, I get you want to like have a story of like, people having dreams and not being successful. But I grew up with the Mighty Ducks. Like, come on. We want success. We want to see, people overcome those challenges. And sure, they've got to have roadblocks. They've got to have things where they lose or win under circumstances which were favoring them, where they go, oh, actually, if that person played, we wouldn't have won, sort of thing. You don't want to just see them kind of roll up and lose. And then they go, oh, well, we give up. Like, it just kind of feels like a cop-out. Haikyu doesn't do that. And that's why it's been successful. Like, there are moments where they're not going to win. There are going to be moments where they come against barriers which they can't overcome or things that they realize that they've had an unfair advantage and that's why they won, and that will cause to drive them further, make them want to become better players. And that's the way it should be handled. It shouldn't be just, oh no, we're not good enough. Give up on your dreams. It's the wrong message to give.
I think that's something Haikyu does really well, and you really see it in this movie, is that rather than it really being about winning or losing in a weird way, because like you kind of want both teams to win because the movie is about Karasuno and Nekoma, and they've been rivals for so long. You see both of them grow throughout the show, so like even if Nekoma did win, you'd kind of still be happy about it. But the main point of the film is that you don't want the match to end. Like, they don't want it to end, and the way that they do the film, you kind of don't want it to end. It's like you're really watching a sports game, a volleyball game, and the perspective that they show it through, especially in the final points of that game, and then it finally ends, and it just, like, drops and it finishes, and you kind of sit there and you're like, oh...
It's over.
It's over. And the way that they can capture that feeling is something that I've not seen or experienced in another sports anime, like, ever. So the fact that they can capture that and you feel it for both teams so much, and that you're not just rooting for one team, you're kind of rooting for them both to, like, have a good game. It's not even just like, oh, I want them to demolish the other team, because that's not fun. You want them both to have a really good game and for them both to play really well. And it's a cartoon, it's animated, it's premeditated, like, it's not, but it's still so enjoyable to watch because you get to see them at their best.
That exciting. That's the way. You go, it's we know what's going to happen. It's been predetermined, but my God, the stakes are high. It's so good. Yeah. Aaron, this was you hadn't watched Haikyu before this, correct? The film?
Correct.
And this, for context, we are talking about the recent film, which was Battle. It's been promoted as the dumpster thingy battle, and it's like battle. It's because there's the crows and the birds, and it's like they fight in the back alley sort of thing. So
the crows and the cats, you mean?
Yeah. Oh God. Crows and the birds. Yeah, that's really, really.
Crows and the birds.
I'm gonna go drink more of my Red Bull.
But yeah, this was my first real exposure to it. I did try and watch some in the lead up to it, but like finding the movies is hard.
Oh yeah, we talked
'Cause,
about
The
this,
recap
yeah.
movies.
Yeah, because like they've got these recap movies that basically each one covers a different season, and I was like, cool, I can just do that and be ready in time. Where's movie 1, 2, and 3?
Yeah. I believe that is the answer to that is that they are in Rights Hell.
Yeah,
Yeah, because we talked about the movie that came before this was originally not released in Australia. So I didn't even know that there was a movie because we just got this season, which is a recap of the movie rather than the other way around. And so it feels a lot longer than it needs to. And then I found out that there was a movie, but it just wasn't available in Australia. And then watching this movie, it makes sense to do these as movies. So as
So was
Aaron was
this-
saying with the recap ones as well, I'm sure that those would have made a lot of sense as well because they would cut out any unnecessary time and it makes it feel like the match is going in real time.
Yeah, because you are right. Like on Crunchyroll, at least for in Australia, there's only some films, and some of them are like one of them's there's one recap, and then there's some which are actually OVAs, which have been bundled together as films and stuff like that. So it's like, was it To the Top Part 2? The film?
I don't think it was part 2. I think it was.
It's the
Oh man.
It's the one where the season is just one match. It is one match and it should be a movie and it is a movie. What is it called? Hold on. It's the most recent season before this.
Yes, that was 2.
Oh wait, are we talking about Tifa's movie or my movie?
Huh? Yeah, your movie, yeah.
My movie, I think that was season 4?
Yeah, because To the Top was season 4 and it was released in 2 parts. And the second part
Was
of
it?
it, yeah.
Goodness.
Yeah, so like it's
Yeah, I think it's that one. Yeah.
yeah, and you are right. Like the second part of it should have been like it's just one match for 12 episodes. You're like that could have been a film and it would have been better
Yes.
paced.
And it was a film in Japan.
Yeah, is that like concept? No. There's a lot of films.
The Crunchyroll website is like a mess, but
It is. I mean, it always has been.
Oh man, do
as
you guys
Aaron
remember
was saying-
Funimation?
Funimation.
It's better. It's Funimation out of all of them had the worst interface. Crunchyroll was kind of in the middle. Anime Lab was by far and beyond the best interface, and then they just let it die. And it's like you had the perfect solution there, and it was ready made, and you could have just rolled it out.
Or you could have just brought over the same team and get them to do the same thing to yours, but
Yeah, they probably didn't want to spend money. It's a very... Look, it's Sony. They didn't want to spend money. Anyway.
back to the movie stuff.
Back to the movies.
Yes, like I'd always seen people like losing their nuts over Haikyu and how good it is, and just like the bonding and all of that, and I didn't really understand it from an outsider perspective, and like there was just that when people enjoy something too much, it's almost a deterrent because it's like, I don't know if I want to get lost in the sauce.
Yeah.
But watching the movie, I was like, wow, I get it. Like, these are really well done characters, and even like the opponents that they go against are really well done. Like, they're fleshed out characters with backstories and desires, and like, it was really fun to watch, and like just the way they shoot everything.
And also, like, no one's just shoehorned in for the sake of having, like, someone for them to overcome. They're actual, as you said, fleshed out characters who have a role and they have their dreams and their desires. Like, even people who, you know, from the start are just kind of, like, minor background characters have a role to play. And it's impressive how well balanced that is, because so many characters often get lost in the background when you're dealing with cast of thousands. So,
I mean, even like the little giant in the show, because Hinata is like, you know, that's his idol. That's what he wants to be like. He's not the only one. There are other people out there in like other teams, and he finds that out later, who are also short just like him, who don't have that like stature that you know volleyball needs, but saw this kid do really well at the nationals on like TV and stuff, and also want to do the same. Like, he's not the only one, and like that is something that usually with a shonen especially, you would kind of use it to make Hinata like really special, like, you know, like pushing that way. But other kids are like that too. And it shows that this goes nationwide, not just in this small area that Hinata is in. So
he's not the only one who wants to become Hokage.
Yeah.
Well, he's going to have to marry Naruto. So.
Is that how you become Hokage?
He's called Hinata.
Guys, sit down. I'm going to go marry Naruto. Going to be the new Hokage.
Now, as we said, there are technically 4 seasons, but the 4th season is split in 2 parts. The second half was technically a film first, and then was kind of like what they did with Thingy Train.
Mugen Train for
Demon
Demon
Slayer.
Slayer.
Yeah, where they then did it as a season for it, and it wasn't bad when they did that, and it did help flesh out some additional stories. But yeah, it might feel like the pacing's a little bit off if you do approach it from that angle. Now, there's been a lot of. Haikyu's done really well. So when it was releasing as a manga, it won the 61st Shogakukan Manga Award in the shonen category in 2015. It actually started off as 2 one-shots. It was first published in Jump Next and then Weekly Shonen Jump in 2011. That was like the first one was in January, and then they got such a big, interest in it. They published it in April in actual print, and then everyone went yes, and then was fleshed out into a full manga. In 2020, the series was in the top 5 best-selling manga in Japan with over 7 million copies sold. It continues to be one of the best-selling manga series of all time, on par with even like One Piece and so on. It's done numbers, and it's, as we mentioned earlier, had a few one-shots since it finished, and they seem to get picked up immediately straight away as well. Because of that, there is, of course, spin-offs, and there's only 2. First is Let's Haikyu, which is a gag spin-off 4-coma style manga. That's where like the 4 little 4 panels. It began in 2015 in Shonen Jump Plus. It retells the same story with a ridiculous comedy twist. So Kageyama is an actual king, for instance. He has a crown and a scepter, and he brings them onto the court. Tanaka, for some reason, is always naked. Hinata tries to capture an air sample with a plastic bag to commemorate his first match. It's really goofy. This ran for 11 volumes, just short of 300 chapters. Now, for a spin-off manga to get 300 chapters is wild. It did have a break in there. I think from 2018 to about 2021, it stopped releasing and then went back into publication and finished the story. There is only fan translations available so far. It hasn't had an official English release. Once that finished, there's also Haikyu Boo, which began in 2019. This is also a comedy series, but it is a full manga series, and it instead focuses on all the rival schools in the series. So Aoba Josai, Shiratorizawa, Nekoma, Fukurodani, and more. It's basically looking at all of the goofy things that are happening to them during the main story. Again, releasing in Shonen Jump Plus. It's got about 150 chapters so far. It's still releasing at the time of recording, but again, only fan translations available so far. So if you are interested in more Haikyu, that's where you can get it. And it's also kind of funny to see like some of the goofy retakes they have on the characters in Let's Haikyu, because it's really goofy. Interestingly, and this is kind of topical with the current season of Oshi no Ko, the series has had numerous stage play 2.5D adaptations. 11 of them, actually, which is insane. It's actually credited with the productions growing the public interest in 2.5D stage plays in Japan. If you aren't aware of what those are, they're kind of... they're a lot more... involved than a standard stage play. Like, I think, is it the one that's in Osaka where like the whole theater moves between the scenes?
It's kind of similar to that, yeah. So like some of it depends on each theater basically. So it could be like the entirety of the theater, but usually it's like at least, well, it's like kind of a dome and it's like at least half. So it's kind of like having 3 stages. So you'd have 1, 2, 3 basically. And it means that you wouldn't have to move sets around, and there's more like that you can do with the background and the technology because they have screens and stuff like that as well. So, but it's dependent on each like individual theater that they perform at.
And also it means that you don't have to have those breaks between scenes where people are running around and removing everything off the stage. So look, it's pretty cool. There's actually DVD editions of all of the 11 stage plays. And I think most of them are actually available on YouTube by the official production company as well. So like if you wanted to see them do it, it's worth having a look online. It's apparently really good. So, like, it's something that I'm actually like, okay, I'd be kind of interested in checking that out now. Like, now that I'm on the Haikyu train.
Wi-Fi viewing party.
I mean, look, I'd be happy to do it. But yeah, look, I'm surprised with how quickly I got into this because I started reading the manga when we were preparing for this app, and I was like, this is actually pretty good. Maybe I should watch the anime as well.
So good.
Oh, yeah. And then Emma's like, oh, yeah, I remember watching this. I was totally like, that guy's the dad of the team and that guy's the mum of the team. And it's just like, huh? What do you mean?
Sugar
and then you watch it, you're like,
mum and what's
that
his
makes
name?
sense.
Is the dad.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, they are the parental figures, the ones who are kind of trying to lift up the team. You're like, okay, now I get where you're going with it. It's just like, huh.
It's fun making up your own nicknames for them as well. Like, there's Jesus on the team.
You mean Jesus?
Yeah, but like I say that, and you guys immediately know who I'm talking
Yeah, right?
We used to just call Nishinoya like just orange shirt guy like all the time, and we forgot his name for a while. And then there's also his name Okiawa or whatever his name is. It sounds something like that. And the nickname he has like worldwide is like, you might have to censor this, but it's Awa, and everyone just calls him that to the point where everyone just kind of like forgot his real name and it became a problem online.
Oh, God.
But also, like, let's just say, like, how insane that boy's impact is, though, because every time there's like a who's the worst villain type of tweet or post, why is he always there? He's always there, and he's not even a villain. They're like, oh, who's the strongest? And they have Gojo, and they have him, and then they have Sukuna, and then they have Makima. Like, why is he still being included?
He's a curse user, didn't you know? It's just that he's swearing at people instead.
Yeah. It's just so funny.
Curse technique. Worst volleyball.
You've got to have to take me on and challenge me for my vicious curse technique and maybe eat some volleyballs. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this. But if he's going to take on Gojo, he has to go deep. So look.
Kyle.
Can't say that, Kyle.
Look, that's your problem, not mine.
Look, I know what this guy is known for in the fandom. That's a bit, you know.
I haven't got that far, and I try to stay away from the fandom so that my view is not impacted by others' terrible ideas.
I mean, look,
Not just
I think
talk about going deep into characters.
That's not what I said. But anyway.
I think, like, if you compare this, like, for example, to Free, and where Free kind of fell off was the fact that, you know, the first season was pretty good, and then people were kind of like, oh yeah, like, BL vibes and trying to push it, and then they kind of incorporated that into the anime, but didn't want to push it too far. So it's like you kind of were queer baiting a little bit between characters because of the fandom instead of keeping to the manga source. And it's like you could have done that and like gone full out or just not done that at all. But because you kind of were in this weird middle ground, a lot of people were kind of like, they're not really giving us the BL we want, and then other people were like, they're not giving us the sports we want, and then so there's still fans, but the fandom overall kind of dropped a bit, whereas Haikyu has always known where it stood and has continued to stay in that path. So.
And it is sports.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, don't get me wrong.
They're
like,
babies.
yeah, like,
so little.
like, don't get me wrong. Like, if you like your BL, that's fantastic. But don't like try and change a story to kind of bring that fandom in. Like, if you want that, make a spin-off. Like, make a side story, make a different story altogether. Don't do it just to get the fandom in. You need to support. If you're going to do it, you do it wholeheartedly. You don't like that'd be like if they said, say, Given, for instance. Like, Given is very clearly a BL anime. If Given didn't did exactly what it did, but never had a payoff.
Yeah, exactly.
You would be so annoyed as a fan of the BL genre. And, like, if it did the absolute opposite, like, if it was meant to be just a music anime and they were just bandmates. Oh, my God, they were bandmates. If they, they were just meant to be bandmates and then they were kind of trying to play that on there, it would upset the fan base as well. Like, you need to know who your audience is from the get-go. You don't try and bring in a new audience when you've already got an established audience there who is going to go and watch it. So, and also Free was just a Calvin Klein ad, so, like,
You're not wrong.
Like,
they still have like one more movie coming out as well. Like, it's not even done
so
yet.
long. Like, in the same time, like, this is finished. Like, and this had more seasons. Like, yeah. But look, Haikyu, it's great. If you've never wanted to watch a sports anime, this is probably the best one for non-sports viewers, if that makes sense. Like, it's not just about the sports, it's about the character interactions, it's about the rivalries, about the drama between the teams and the interpersonal relationships. It is more of a personal focus as opposed to a sport focus. The sport is just the dressing for it and to give it a direction, and I think that has worked exceptionally well for this story, because people who would never watch a sports anime are like, I love Haikyu. So there you go. You can watch it Crunchyroll worldwide and Netflix in some areas. As Aaron did mention, there are issues with getting the recap films in some places, so you might have to look into alternative sources or direct purchase on some platforms. But yeah, it's really well done. It's production IG, so the animation is schmick. So, you can't really go wrong with it. But yeah, go watch it, and then go watch some volleyball at the Olympics, and this time see if they again do the same things and make references. And
I always remember like the 2020 Olympics when they put up the posters for the volleyball team up around Japan. And equally as many Haikyu posters.
Yeah, right?
Like, they matched them all together. There's this huge poster of Hinata up in Akihabara, and then, like, the other teams and stuff as well. It's, like, insane, because that would just never happen anywhere else.
To be honest, it might happen in France, because I've been, like, I mean, admittedly we are talking about French Olympics, but France is kind of a bit wild on their anime in a good way. Like, we've mentioned this on the podcast before, because France and Italy, when during the early years of the European Union, because everyone was kind of holding up other nations, a lot of these countries in Europe didn't have enough money to produce domestic television for kids and so on. So they did what Australia did and America did in the 90s and 2000s, and imported stuff from Japan on the cheap. So they were doing it like 10 years before English-speaking countries were. So their anime fandom is even deeper ingrained there. And you can go, They have like big expos and, art installments and stuff in France and Italy. Like Lupin obviously being well connected with, so Lupin the Third being well connected with Italy, they actually had the premiere of I think it was season 5 in Italy, and it aired in Italy before anywhere else in the world, and it was 3 months before the rest of the world got it. So it was just like, wow, okay. So like they're, we never know. We might see some interesting stuff over the course of the Olympics.
I mean, even the like Olympians themselves, a lot of them are really big anime fans and stuff. So we'll probably see something from them. I mean, Noah Lyles in his like Olympic trial brought out Yu-Gi-Oh cards several times and a dual disc. So that was really interesting for his like little pose up before his run, and he has a dual disc and he has like all the Exodia like cards and stuff as well. And then the one before his race when he pulled out the Blue Eyes White Dragon that he was just hiding in his shirt. Like,
is he a sprinter or?
Yeah, he's a sprinter.
Aaron, you'd know better than us. What's the aerodynamics of a dual disc like arm thing? Is it very good for running?
I thought you were going to ask for a Blue Eyes. I was like, depends. Is it a jet?
Depends if he has a jetpack and he comes down from it. Like that video.
The amount
Aaron
of
said.
times I've been sent that clip.
I know.
Oh my goodness.
It's like, this is Aaron if he won Lotto.
Yeah, Brendan sent it to me. Kenny sent it to me. Nat sent it to me.
Look, you're
like,
just
look,
a
it'd be
Yu-Gi-Oh
cool.
boy.
Yeah.
Oh, well, look, Haikyu, we will move on to the news, but Haikyu, highly recommend watching it now, especially with all the Olympic fever going on. It is good fun. If you are enjoying some of the shenanigans of the Olympics, or if you just kind of want to see what it's all about, I highly recommend it. Definitely give it the 3-episode treatment so it can hit its stride, because the pacing, at least up until that Haikyu to the top part 2, is really good. And it's all available usually in one spot. It's just a shame that those recap movies aren't if you wanted to catch up quickly. But let's be honest, like we've still got 12 months, and like you know, you could watch 2 episodes a week over a year and you would catch up. So there you go. But yeah, go check it out. Let's go talk some anime news because there's a lot.
Kawaii-Fi Radio.
Tonight on Anime Communique.
Great story, compelling and rich.
Nothing brings ratings up like a little controversy.
On the note of queer baiting, I just realised that I used the Oron High School Host Club sting. So,
Kyle.
my bad. Sorry. Let's talk controversy, and it's not something that I've done, I promise. Square Enix, for once, Square Enix is not considering cancelling the Apothecary Diaries manga after the artist's sentence. Now, for a bit of context here, Apothecary Diaries manga artist Neko Kurage has been handed a suspended sentence for tax evasion. They failed to declare 260 million yen in income from 2019 to 2021. For those wondering how much that is in Western money, that's about 200 million Australian, 150 million US at current exchange rates. It's a lot of money. Like, good on them. But it's a lot of money. Like, you know, not saying like, you know, good on them for hiding it. It's just a lot of money. Like, come on. They have been given a suspended sentence of 10 months in prison and a fine of 11 million yen, which is about... Oh, actually, no, I'm wrong on the numbers. Sorry, it's about 200,000, not 2 million. Sorry, so 200,000 Australian, 150,000 US. This is about, they've been fined 11 million, which is about 70,000 US for the crime of tax evasion on Wednesday last week. However, since the prison sentence is suspended for 3 years, if he remains on good behavior, they will not serve the time in prison. Sorry, if they remain. I'm actually not too sure what their gender identity is. The prosecution sought a sentence of 10 months in prison with 14 million yen. So like they basically got what they were chasing. The good news is that Square Enix, obviously, who are doing the publishing of Apothecary Diaries, considering how big it is, they're just like, we're not going to shoot the golden goose. So that's good to hear. So they released a statement stating that no, look, they've pleaded guilty to it, they've paid for it, they've been handed a suspended sentence. They had no intention of evading tax payments. They were planning to pay it all at once later, apparently. But obviously there's a lot going around. We're just really glad that, unlike many of the other things we hear, when it's like this person has been taken to court for something, it was something like tax evasion and not something more concerning. Because so many mangaka have problems.
Well, I mean, a lot of them do tax evasion.
Yeah.
And it's just wild. Like, Why?
I do wonder if it's because of like the system. Like, for example, in America, it's not like here in Australia where tax can automatically be taken out and things like that. Sometimes if you miscalculate, like, that's a big issue and is considered tax evasion, especially in America. So that's why it's like really hard for them and they have to do them all of the math for it. You got to continuously like look at everything, and that's why most people get like an accountant and stuff like that. Whereas here, our tax is usually taken out automatically. It's all done like electronically as well. If you wanted to do it yourself, like the government is doing the calculations for you. You're not doing the calculations yourself. And I'm not sure if Japan has a similar system to America, but I think that that's like a potential thing.
I believe they do, because the statement says is that they paid taxes and fees in full in 2022 as a result of not declaring the income after receiving instructions from the tax office, and then they apparently used the money to purchase real estate. So I think it might have been that they got the money in, which was apparently from income earned from manga sales, and then immediately put it into property. But it was probably a case of, I want to buy this house, I need to do it now, and then I will pay it off when I do my future tax return, sort of thing. So who knows really how it's kind of works here. But like as you said, tax evasion is rampant in Japan. Look at UFO Table getting sued for like all the tax evasion they did to do with their cafe. You had issues with Neon Genesis production with Gainax putting money aside, which shouldn't have been done the way it was done, because previous episode, go listen to it. It was messed up. Like, it shouldn't have been done that way, but people panic and they worried that not more money is going to come in, so they want to put money aside to save things, and then they do it wrong, and ends up tax evasion. So
but that much money.
I mean, in some cases, you kind of got to question it. I mean, in this case, it kind of sounds like, if it was $2 million US, then I'd be like, okay, but no, I was wrong. It was 200,000 Australian, 150,000 US. So like that's 2 years' income based on the fact that they're based on what their income was apparently declared as. So like, okay, fair enough.
I do also wonder, like, with mangaka especially, and people within that like industry, usually you have a manager and things like that would take care of that kind of stuff. And because they're with Square Enix, and Square Enix is like, no, it's all good, guys. I wonder if maybe it was like a managing issue there, and that's why they're kind of like, let's just, we'll keep going. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Well, I think it's probably also as well that they're making a lot of money off it. So
yeah, I do agree. I just think that, like, I wonder why no one in their management team for the manga would have said anything.
They might have got some money themselves that they also haven't declared, but it's not big enough to make a big deal about. Like, maybe there have been other people from the department who have been sued for taking money, but we don't know their names, so it doesn't. We won't get the context for it. Anyway, good news is that the second season of the anime is still going ahead in 2025. Apothecary Diaries, if you haven't watched it, great fun. Like, highly recommend it. It was definitely one of our picks over the past 12 months. Ooh. On the note of
sleepy guy.
Look, it's been a week. So on the note of upcoming anime, Uzumaki, the anime of Junji Ito. I just saw something horrible on this. San Diego Comic-Con panel for the Rick and Morty anime series revealed on Friday the anime for Uzumaki will debut on Adult Swim's Toonami programming block. And like, no one's watching the Rick and Morty anime, guys. No one can.
Morty.
No one knows where it's airing.
Rick and Morty anime, where to watch in Australia.
And it says online illegally.
Yup.
Right? So this is going to be interesting because apparently Uzumaki is going to stream on HBO Max, which is now just known as Max, in the US. It's a 4-episode miniseries. It was meant to debut in like 2020. Before it went to Japan, but then it was delayed to 2022, 2023, and now it's just like, maybe it's coming. Like, it's only 4 episodes, guys. Like, come on.
Well, at least it finally has a date. And like the images that they showed in like 2020, people were kind of excited for, and then the Netflix like thing that came out for Junji Ito, and people were like, "Oh, okay,
it's awful."
I don't know.
And it went to the same studio again.
But the Uzumaki one is a different studio.
It's production
and
IG.
The arts, and the art style mimics more of the manga, and they've taken longer with it. And every trailer so far has looked really good. So there's a little more hope there.
I don't know if I'd say good. Horrifying is the more accurate
Horrifying
term.
is good for me.
It is. It is beautifully drawn and animated. Like look, this is not going to be everyone's cup of tea. It is a horror series at its core, but the artwork is phenomenal in it. So this is going to be interesting. It was actually written in like 1998-99, and it follows the inhabitants of a town where a strange occurrence relating to a spiral shape begins to occur one after another. It gets very spooky and crazy, and look, it's better than like the fish one, because that was weird. We watched that. It was, I want those 2 hours of my life back. I think it was like go fish or something like that, and it was like fish walking with legs. It was weird. Anyway, moving right along to something less disgusting. Gundam Requiem for Vengeance. It's a CG anime which is going to hit our screens on October 17th. It is being streamed internationally by Netflix, and it looks good. It actually looks... Yeah, I'm excited. It's only 6 episodes. It is full CG, like kind of in like the old school way that we'd see like do you remember like the CG I'm thinking like the alien-y type Starship Troopers series, like from like the early 2000s, how they were like CG and they were like quite high quality. It's like that to the nth degree now that they've got much better technology. Like, it's full CG, good quality Gundams with all of the small, like, teeny tiny details included, and the characters look realistic. They don't look weird CG. Like, they're not, shrunk or anything. They look like actual people. This could be really good. It could also be horrible, but we'll see. The animation at least looks good. They did show a trailer and key visuals at Comic-Con. The trailer is available online. Wow. I keep yawning. I'm really sorry, guys. There's 6...
Is it better CG than Reboot?
Pardon?
Is it better CG than Reboot?
What's Reboot? Oh, yeah, that Reboot, right. I thought you were talking about like an anime called Reboot, but you're talking about Reboot. Yes, much better CG than Reboot from the 90s, 2000s. The people, you can't see the polygons.
Oh, man, that show gave me nightmares.
That show looked like it was a PS1 game. Like, wow.
Yeah.
So this is going to have 6 30-minute episodes. It will stream exclusively worldwide on Netflix, and the story focuses on the European front during the 1 year war made famous by the first ever Gundam anime. So this is really kind of going back to the origin of it. But I'm also curious to kind of figure out if it's focusing on the... I'm not sure if it's focusing on the people who are fighting against the Gundam based on the trailer. Because, like, it looks like they've got all of the type of mechas that you would see for enemy units, not the Gundam units. Also, kind of interestingly, is that the series has been made in Unreal Engine 5. So, they're apparently doing a collaboration with Fortnite. I don't know what that's going to mean. It's early in production, apparently, but players will be able to pilot mobile suits and use weapons like beam rifles. So I think we might be having another game.
When are we streaming it, lads?
Yeah, it's going to be so dumb. I'm going to have so much fun. There's a lot of people involved in the project from Sunrise and Safe House, along with Epic Games as well. There are people who've done a lot of CG work. I'm just dying today. I'm sorry. Either way,
need a yawn counter for Kyle.
We do need a yawn counter for Kyle. Look, this is going to be really interesting. October 17th, so we're still a couple of months out. But go check out the trailer. It looks really good. Highly recommend it. On the note of checking out trailers, Like a Dragon's live action series looks incredible. And this is coming to Amazon Prime Video, so I'm surprised by how good it actually looks. So this is also a 6-episode series. It's live action based on Sega's Like a Dragon action games. And Kento Kaku, who's from the Ranma and a Half live action special, and Spy X Family Code White is going to play the main character. I'm just like, I'm sorry, what? Spy X Family? I think he was the villain in Spy X Family. He was Luca. Sorry.
The Gourmand?
Yes, the Gourmand. So, Yeah, I think he's going to do a pretty good job. And if you have a look at it's called Like a Dragon Yakuza, and if you have a look at all the trailers for it, he looks the part. I mean, like, it shouldn't be that much of a surprise that a Japanese actor looks the part of a Japanese actor. Like, come on. But they've done a really good job of kind of the stylization, like their haircuts, the outfits and everything to make them look like the actual characters they're meant to portray from the game. And it's making me go, maybe I do need to go back and play Yakuza. Like, I've got all of the games sitting there on Steam. I got them as part of a sale, and like all of us do, they sit there until we decide, oh, actually, we should really play that 15 years later.
The Yakuza games are really good, and they've got that massive fan base. So to do anything short of, like, making it really good would just... Because the main part of the fan base is in Japan, so if they let them down, they'd be on their doorstep.
I think what is really interesting about this live action is that it is actually a Japanese live action. Even though we do have a American studio as part of it, we also have a Japanese studio, and it is filmed like they're speaking Japanese. It's not English, it's Japanese. So I think that is quite interesting, and maybe it'll be similar to Alice in Borderlands, which is also like, it's Netflix, but it's done within Japan. It's like Japanese actors, they speak Japanese as well. So I think it's interesting that it's not like One Piece or something where they are speaking English. They are all speaking Japanese. Within this.
Yeah,
that's what it says, at least.
Yeah.
So I think that would be interesting.
It's also interesting because the series is going to be partially based on the first game in the series. The story centers on Kiryu and three friends initially in 1995. Initially in 1995, and then it transitions to 2005 as he gets out of prison after a decade. So it's going to be pretty interesting. It's not going to mirror the game story directly. It's going to use elements of it and cherry pick it, because I think there's so much content in there, it would be hard to fit that into a series. 6-episode series, Amazon Prime Video, in over 240 countries and territories in 2 batches. So October 24th and October 31st. So 3 episodes each time. So I think this will do quite well. Like, anyone who likes the whole, like, any of the gangster style stuff, like, as in the gangster anime series, GAN. And then
like Ikebukuro Westgate Park.
Yeah, if you love IWGP, if you love IWGP's live action from the 90s, they might like this too. But yeah, like, if you like any of those sort of criminal underworld series, this is probably going to be really good, and it's going to probably have a lot of elements that we're familiar with from, like, criminal anime style shows. So I'm quite excited for this. I think this is going to be, like, one of the ones I'm definitely going to check out. So it might even inspire me to play the game. Who knows?
When are we getting a Chopper Read anime?
We've already had the ultimate Chopper Read anime. It's a live action, and it was the Comedy Central one where they just had him doing all of his like silliness. So I don't know if you recall it. It might be like a bit niche, but they had like a comedy sketch show, and one of them was Big Chopper, and it was like his segment, and someone pretended to be Chopper Reed and going, "I really like this book. It's really good." You know, you're like, okay. And someone brings him a coffee, and he's like, "Oh, that's real good. If it was too bitter, I'd have to shoot you." Stuff like that. You're like, oh. Yeah, it was very niche early 2000s where parody was kind of a little unhinged. Let's continuing with Netflix, actually. Netflix is streaming both the Sailor Moon Cosmos films on August 22nd for the international release. So this is the final Shadow Galactica arc of the manga. This finally brings the entire franchise to a close. I don't know if it's going to be good. Japanese audiences have given it very mixed responses. I don't know how well the movie and the manga's ending are received well, I don't know how well the manga's ending is received generally as well. Like, I think there's some lingering parts of it that people wanted a better resolution for. We'll see if maybe it's an issue that people in Japan like the manga and the anime film then does a better job of resolving it. But we will know next month, literally a month from now, when both of those drop. So I don't know if we'll do a special episode or anything on it. We might talk about it as part of what we're watching, because we already did do a deep dive on the reboot and films on that a couple of months back. Also, The Boy and the Heron is heading to HBO Max on September 6th, and that's obviously just for the US and Canada, I believe. I do apologize if I'm wrong on that. However, it is then going to stream on Netflix globally outside of the US and Japan. Okay, so Netflix for Canada, sorry. So they've apparently, G-Kids has extended their deal with Netflix. So 22 Studio Ghibli titles will continue to stream on the platform as well, and also on HBO Max. It is also available on home media at the moment as well on Blu-ray. That came out on July 9th, so just earlier this month. If you haven't seen The Boy and the Heron, look, it's amazing. It won an Oscar. Realistically, that doesn't mean anything because the Oscars are weird, but it's really good. It's a really good film. And the dub's exceptional. Holy cow.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Both like versions of it are just as good as each other, and the sub and the dub is basically exactly the same. So
yeah, we really enjoyed it when we went and saw it in the cinemas. So, go watch it when you can. It's great if you haven't seen it. Alrighty, 2 more news items. I did say we had a lot. Zoids Anime is teasing its 25th anniversary project. We talked about this a little bit briefly in the pre-show because there's apparently a crossover of the figurines that Aaron discovered to do with Zoids being crossed over with Monster Hunter. Was it, Aaron?
Yes.
Yeah. So they're all on pre-order at the moment. So if you are into your Zoids figurines, you might want to get on board for that as soon as possible. Otherwise, they might run out of stock. So there's apparently a new 25th anniversary project for Zoids Chaotic Centuries anime, which was the first anime of the franchise. They've revealed a new visual and a new promotional video. They didn't actually state what the nature of the project was, but revealed it would start in August. So that suggests it's got to be something with a production timeline. Like, it's not just going to be we're re-releasing all of the figurines sort of thing. They did tease a return of the original Zoids story for the franchise's 40th anniversary because it launched with model kits in 1982 in the West. We'll see kind of what happens with that. Technically, that should have been like last year, the year before, because it was Japan in 1983. I also find this wild that it kind of started in the West first, the figurines, and then went to Japan in the year after. It's like, I thought they would have started in Japan, but yeah. There's not been too much big on Zoids in the last few years. I think the last big one we had was Zoids Wild, and there was 2 Nintendo Switch games, and I don't think either of those kind of did particularly massive. There was Zoids...
They were terrible.
There was Zoids Wild 0 as well, but that kind of got delayed and then resumed and then delayed, and it just kind of didn't have the same feel to it as like New Century or, you know, Chaotic Century or any of the ones that kind of like really made them a big, well-known franchise. So, yeah. We'll see. There should be some news soon. I can let you know the old school, not DS, Game Boy Advance games are pretty good. At least the ones that are available in English. I still keep going back and playing them. All right, last thing. Lycoris Recoil Anime is getting 6 anime short films. I'm like, don't get me wrong, I am 100% here for this because Lycoris Recoil is awesome. But I'm very surprised by it because it's just shorts by different directors focusing on the characters' daily lives. Isn't that just OVAs? Why are they saying they're short films? Like...
Because they're doing it to spite you, Kyle.
Probably. Yeah, Aaron, that's definitely what it is. It's to spite me.
It's specifically you.
Specifically me, the random guy in Australia doing a podcast who has no connection at all.
Yeah, you'd never see it coming.
Wow, that's really horrible, Sony. How dare you? Maybe they have been listening to me.
Yeah, I was going to say they're listening to you through your devices every time. You're like, Sony's terrible.
I mean, I do have a Sony camera and a Sony TV. But that's it. Nothing else I own is Sony. And those are the only items I will. So Lycoris Recoil is also going to have they previously announced there was a new animation project in the works. We're not sure if this is said animation work or if this is something else to tide people over until they get that sorted. Either way, each short story will feature a different person in charge of directing and storyboarding. Ooh, I suck. With Adachi supervising. And the character design is designer Imagumuri is also handling the script. Staff will reveal release dates and other details at a later time. So, look, it's going to be good. Like, if you enjoyed Lycoris Recoil, there is going to be more. And that is a great thing because it was a lot of fun. So, yeah, look, if that's your cup of tea, and it should be because it was actually incredibly well done. Go check it out. I had a lot of fun with it. And I think that's it. Like, unless anyone else has got any breaking news that I may have forgotten, or I have forgotten one thing that has literally come out while we've been talking. And that is that the Berserk, now this is not Berserk as in like guts with his big sword. This is BRZRKR, the Immortal Saga, which is the Keanu Reeves comic. That is getting a anime adaptation, and they've had an announcement for it. It's going to be releasing this fall in the US. So that would be our spring. So next quarter, potentially. Which is, that's actually a lot sooner than I thought. They did a pre-recorded message with Mattson Tomlin, who is serving as the showrunner. He added that he's assembling a team to start the development this fall. Tomlin wrote an initial script for the Batman film, as in the recent one, and he's also been involved in the upcoming Terminator Zero anime and was also attached to pen the script for a planned live-action film adaptation of Capcom's Mega Man franchise. I don't know how I feel about that as a concept, but okay. But either way, Berserker should be good fun. I kickstarted the comics from Boom. We've mentioned this before, but like independent comics in the US are having a massive boom, pun intended, at the moment. Boom Studios is doing really well. So is IDW, so is Image, so is ASW. Like they're all kind of coming out with these really interesting, unique ideas that, you know, now that the kind of superhero fatigue has set in, they're looking at things in completely different ways that Marvel and DC just don't, and they're the ones who are starting to bring back up American comics as far as sales go. So it's pretty cool to see. But yeah, look, this is going to be good fun when it does come out later this year. Highly recommend checking out the comics if you haven't. It is targeted at a more mature audience. Production IG is going to be involved in the series, 2 seasons. There's been more comics since it finished its initial run. So yeah, it's Yeah, there's going to be a lot. Oh, wow. Okay. There's another one literally just came in now, literally 2 minutes ago. My Senpai's Annoying Manga is ending. Series will end with... Yeah, okay, it has ended, as has Nagatoro. So there you go. A lot of news this week. So, but anyway, I think that's where we'll leave it. Let's wrap up.
Kawaii-Fi.
Okay, so that is where we're going to leave things for this episode. Thank you so much for listening. Next time, are you ready to go back to 2009 and relive the horror that was Endless 8? No. No. But we're going to do it anyway. Our next episode is going to mark 15 years since the melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya's second season aired with the controversial Endless 8 arc, which chewed up 8 of the new season's episodes to show practically the same thing. Now, look, Haruhi kind of was a bit weird in its production style. Like, they put episodes out in the wrong chronological order on purpose. Like, you know, it's an odd anime to begin with. But what's even weirder is when you discover Endless 8's light novel origin was less than 100 pages. They dragged it out. Like, clearly someone thought, wouldn't this be funny? And then everyone lost their mind and thinking, didn't we watch this last week? Yeah, 2 months of the same thing. If you ever do watch Haruhi, watch Endless 8 episode 1, 2, and 8. Then you're done. The other 5 are the same. So, yeah. Now, if you have enjoyed what you've heard, we'd love you to hit that subscribe button and join us for future episodes. Hidden behind the big red button this week is my dignity and several more yawns as I continue drinking this Red Bull. So if you would like to steal that from me, go ahead. Now, if you are over on YouTube as well, hit that like button. Let us know your thoughts on Haikyu. Are you already watching it? Are you a big Haikyu fan? We know you're all out there. Let us know what you think of the most recent film if you've seen it as well. Try and obviously keep spoilers to a minimum because there are going to be people who haven't seen it. We have, the three of us in fact, got together about 2, 3, 4 weeks ago now to record us eating off Kit Kats. By which I mean they're the Kit Kats I brought back from Japan in various flavors, and we discovered half of them were off when we were eating them. So, yeah.
I still haven't had the sugar buzz wear off.
Yeah. That video will come out soon once I have a moment to sit down and edit it. We get sillier and sillier as the eating goes on, as we get more and more sugar in our system, and it kind of gets a little unhinged at the end. It's gonna be a good laugh, so keep an eye out for that for the latest Kawaii tries. As always, big thank you to our Patreon members. If you'd like to support the channel, get access to extra content such as the pre-show podcast, outtakes, extra episodes, video extras, links in the episode description. Membership starts from $1 a month. You can also follow us on there for free for major show updates. So if we got a delay or anything, we put up like the free unrestricted posts and stuff. Yeah, that's kind of it. We've all got a lot going on at the moment. I'm surprised we're alive.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, right. Tifa, how was Japan?
Japan was really great. There was not many tourists, so it was really good.
Wow, that's good.
I think because of the heat, there wasn't as many, but as soon as like the Chinese like school holidays started, more people started showing up basically, but it was pretty good.
Sense.
We got to do a lot of touristy things without a lot of tourists being around.
Yeah. Was it the bamboo grove where they had like the bamboo forest where there was like no one, you could get photos with no one in them?
Yeah, like
which
all
is
my
unheard
photos,
of.
there's like, you have a photo, it's just me and like the entire bamboo forest and there's no one there. It was so good.
Oh, jealous. I didn't go when I was over last, so that's going to have to go on the list.
It's definitely worth going. Like, we watched a lot of things where people were like, oh, it's not really worth going, or like trying to debate if it is or isn't. I do think that one of the things that deters people from a lot of things in Japan is the amount of people that will be there. And because there wasn't as many people, obviously we could take our time looking around, but there's beautiful shrines in that area as well, and there's like this like river or pond or whatever it is, and it's got like all these huge lotus flowers and everything. They're gigantic, and it was just really cool just walking around. There was like some people just like that lived in the area as well, walking their dogs and stuff, and they're like, "Ohio," and I'm like, "Ohio," and they're just like really cute. I'm like, your dog is so cute, your little Shiba Inu is so adorable, and like everyone's really friendly there as well. All the local people are just really nice.
You got Nihongo Jozu'd like a million times.
I did. I haven't been Nihongo Jozu'd in a long time, so it was really weird this time around that I got Nihongo Jozu'd a few times, and it was in areas
for those that don't know what that is your Japanese is very good.
Yeah. But usually, like, it's kind of interesting because they won't say it to you if they think that you speak Japanese like natively, or really they say it to you if they know that you're a tourist, basically. And it was really interesting when I went to Pokemon High Tea because that was really out of the way, away from Osaka City. It's like on the coast, like far away, and there aren't any other tourists out there. When we were there, we were the only tourists at the destination as well. I think because generally just reservations can be a little difficult for some people. And so while we were there and stuff, and I was talking to them as well, they were like, "Oh, Nihongo Jozu." And then another time, because I was at a shop with my partner, and they were like, "Eh?" Like, like asking if he speaks Japanese as well. They were like, "Nihongo hanashimasu ka?" And he was like, "Nope." And I was like, "Eigo hanashimasu." And then she's just like giggling in the corner because he can't understand anything. And it's just really funny. But,
poor boy. We love him. Alrighty, well, look, I think that's where we're going to leave it. Unless, Aaron, you've got anything interesting that you're going to be watching soon that you want to tell people to check out.
No.
You're like, no, after Darwin's game, I'm done. I'm not. No more anime for Aaron.
I'm tired.
That's fair.
Awesome. Well, look, thanks so much for listening, everyone. Bit of a different style for us doing it all over online. I think audio-wise it'll come out pretty clear, but video-wise it might be a bit of a different experience for some of you. Thanks for joining us. We always do greatly appreciate your company. Let us know any of your thoughts in the comments as always, and I think that's where we'll leave it. So you've been listening to Kawaii-Fi Radio. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and until next time, watch some anime. Oh, we were so out of sync there. I didn't even press the button.